Good evening, basketball fans, and welcome to beautiful Mahtomedi, Minnesota on a chilly, little bit wet evening here on this fine January 9th of 2024. My name is David Schuyler. I am the sports producer here for Suburban Community Channels. Tonight bringing you Zephyrs men's basketball as they take on the visiting Hastings Raiders. Our player to watch for the Mahtomedi Zephyrs, getting right into things, is the senior guard number 1, Tyler Swanson, who has 81 points on the season for the Zephyrs. Here just a little bit into the second half of the season, good for 11.6 points per game. And just like that, we are underway as Hastings took the opening tip-off, but it was turned over and we're headed back the other way as Felling takes possession for the Zephyrs at the top of the key. Work down inside to the big 6'6" Roloffs for the Zephyrs, and Roloffs, I believe, was fouled there. So possession, or correction, the ball was knocked out of bounds by the Raiders. So possession will stick with Mahtomedi. The Zephyrs 2-8 on the season thus far, but coming into this one, have won 2 of their last 3 games. They started the year 0-7 and have certainly turned things around since then. The Raiders on the other side 7-4 and lead the Metro East Conference with a 2-0 start thus far. So kind of just getting underway with conference games, as the Zephyrs themselves have only played 2 conference games as well, and they are 1-1 in those contests. So no baskets thus far, not even a minute into the game, and Hastings will look to inbound. That's Burnett getting it over to Schultz. Starting for the Raiders, you have Esterby, Schultz, Burnett, Voss, and Knight. And for the Zephyrs, the starting lineup was Swanson, Felling, Roloffs, Ben Carlson, and Micah Schmidt. Burnett inbounds it there. Working to the inside is Knighton, and he gets fouled, so he will go to the line to shoot 2. First one doesn't quite go for Knighton. And the second one is good. Carlson now works it down the floor for the Zephyrs. They work around the top quickly, but it's intercepted there by Burnett for the Raiders, and he drives all the way down and lays it in for the easy 2. Carlson now works at the top. Tries to get it down inside, rather, to Roloffs, but it couldn't quite get to go. Coming back quickly now the other way. This is Knighton underneath the hoop. Knighton double teamed and still gets it blown off the glass. So a quick timeout here for head coach Keith Newman for the Zephyrs, as Hastings was able to get a couple of quick baskets and race out to a 5-0 lead. Taking a look at these two teams coming into things, Mahtomedi averaging 55 points per game while giving up 60. Looking for their first win at home here tonight, as they have an 0-4 mark there, and also looking for their first win against a team above 500. On the other side for the Hastings Raiders, averaging 80 points a game, so the Raiders definitely able to score this season and in waves, whilst giving up 70. So high-flying offense, but maybe not the strongest of defense for the Raiders. Hopefully Mahtomedi will be able to take care of that. Take advantage of that, rather. But the real story for Mahtomedi here, 2-8 on the season thus far, which is not as good as they were last year at this time. But the thing is, they had the biggest turnover I have ever seen in terms of seniors in the game of basketball. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on, as this is Felling taking it himself and driving all the way in, but can't get the reverse layup to go. Rebounded there by Swanson. Dishes it out to the corner to back to Felling, and Felling gets the tray to go. This is Knight now going inside and getting the finger roll to drop. He's up to 5 already. Felling now working on Burnatz, drives in, gets the left-handed lay-in to go. 5-2 run now for the Zephyrs since the timeout about a minute and a half ago. The Raiders working around the top of the key. This is Burnatz. Swung all the way down to the side. Schultz doesn't like the play, trying to change it up now. They're getting it inside to Knighton. At the elbow, takes it right back. Dishes it down inside to the cutting Burnatz, and Burnatz couldn't quite get it to go. Burnatz wanted a foul to be called there, but for over the top, but didn't quite get it. So instead, possession will go the way of Mahtomedi. Burnatz was our player to watch for the Hastings Raiders. He comes in with 221 points in 11 games on the season, which is good for just a little over 20 points per game. The Zephyrs will have to try and figure out if they can slow him down throughout this contest. As Felling works it inside beautifully there to Roloffs, and Roloffs is able to lay it in. There's actually 2 roll-offs for the Zephyrs, as this one is stolen away by Schmidt, and Schmidt goes in on the fast break and lays it in for an easy bucket. The Hank roll-offs is number 2 for the Zephyrs, who is listed as a 6'6" junior, and must be his brother Willie Roloffs is a 6'6" freshman, number 21. Both on the floor right now for the Zephyrs as they get it inside there to Hank Roloffs, and Roloffs goes up and lays it in. Just like that, Mahtomedi has taken a lead in this contest with 2 real quick buckets. It was Hastings who had led 5-0 at the beginning, but since then, Mahtomedi has gone on an 11-2 run over the course of about the past 2 minutes or so. Ethan Felling now will slow things down just a little bit as he waits for a set play for Mahtomedi. Works it all the way down, takes it back inside, tries to go up, but couldn't quite get the left-handed reverse layup to go. Coming back down the floor now. For Schultz, gets it inside to Knighton. And that had been working early for the Raiders, but Mahtomedi has adjusted nicely, shutting down the inside post attempts. Felling now. Loves that right side of the floor at the top. Worked all the way around here to Carlson. Carlson will go in and just rims out. Rebound there by Schmidt. And Schmidt draws the foul as he went up. So he will head to the line for 2 shots. That's the first foul for the Raiders on the night. First one is no good for Micah Schmidt. Checking back into the game for Mahtomedi. Number 22, Sam Thine.
And for the Zephyrs, number 22, Sam Tyne.
Tyne. Thank goodness for PA announcers. And another substitution quick in for the Zephyrs. Number 1, Swanson checking back in, as Micah Schmidt will take a seat for a little bit. Schultz now driving on the floor for the Raiders. Works it back around the left side. Burnatz cuts to the middle, but it gets knocked away. Worked back out for the 3, no good from Foss. Rebound Zephyrs. They're coming back inside now as the Raiders pounced on the loose ball. That was Lucas Foss trying to get it. Turnover again. And an errant pass off the fingertips of Dean. So it'll be Mahtomedi ball. Timeout called by Hastings. And that's a much deserved timeout, I guess you could say. It's a very necessary timeout, certainly called for, as Mahtomedi has gone on a 12-2 run since about the 16-minute mark of this first half. So a timeout called by head coach Chad Fikema for the Raiders, and he will look to figure things out. The last time these two teams squared off was last season, as Mahtomedi had the 86-45 win over the Raiders. But as teased a little bit earlier, things are very much different for this Mahtomedi team this year, so I don't expect we'll have a game by that margin by any stretch of the imagination. It would take something absolutely crazy. And both of those games both of the games between the Zephyrs and the Raiders last year were a little bit one-sided, as Mahtomedi won the first one 86-45, or excuse me, the first one 93-60, and the second one 86-45. As Time gets his first bucket of the night for the Zephyrs. Three-point attempt here by Hastings is no good. I don't have a tally, but I'm pretty darn sure that Hastings has yet to make any three-pointers on the evening. Zephyrs will try to drive in the left side, and the bucket does not go, but it will be two free throws coming up for senior Ben Carlson. That is the second team foul, and second foul for Schultz of the Raiders. A couple of substitutions here as Micah Schmid is back into the game for Mahtomedi. They didn't quite catch the number there for Hastings, so I'll have to get it as we go. It might have been Esterby getting back into the game. And the second one is good for Carlson. That's his first point on the night. Inbound coming here for Hastings after the ball was knocked out of bounds. Tossed up to the top to Foss. Foss now gets it down to Esterby, who takes it right back. No play catch. And instead is just left wide open, tries the three, and it's no good. I mean, why not? They haven't been able to make one yet, so why not give them that look? I mean, and now this is Schmidt. Schmidt drives in. Kicks it all the way back up to the top of Carlson. Ooh, nice rebound there from Swanson as he was ready for the ball to be short there, and he puts it right back for 2 points. Now a 17-2 run for Mahtomedi. That ball was tipped and knocked out of bounds, and we get another timeout from Hastings. After their last timeout, Mahtomedi had only a 4-point lead and had been on an 11-2 run, but since have pushed it out to a 17-2 run. They lead 17-7 here, just a little over 6 minutes into the contest. But we talked a little bit about last season when these two teams squared off, but going back actually into the last 10 times that these teams have played each other, Mahtomedi is on a run. Winning the last 6 in a row. You got to go back to February 21st of 2020 for the last time that the Raiders were able to defeat these Zephyrs. So looking for their first win over them since then, and they had 2 in a row there. Then it was the Zephyrs with 2 wins prior to those 2 contests as well. So in the last 10 meetings, Mahtomedi 8-2, hoping to improve on that. This is what I had touched on earlier, teased a little bit. This has got to be the biggest senior turnover I have ever seen. And I don't think we'll be able to get through it all in this timeout, but Owen Carlson, Will Underwood, Cole Armitage, James Eckler, Javon Hardy, all these names, basically in a nutshell, Mahtomedi lost their starting 5 players and the first guy off the bench and a few more players off the bench that were all seniors from last year's team. A boatload, basically all the scoring, pretty much. You have to go all the way down. Tyler Swanson for the Zephyrs this year, our featured player to watch. Last year, in the stat sheet, it says that he played in 4 games and had 3.2 points per game, which was 10th on the team in scoring. So there were 9 scorers ahead of him that were all seniors. So it is an insane turnover for Mahtomedi, and they're basically looking to build with a fresh roster. So explains a little bit the 2-8 start, but they've also had some tough competition along the way, and hopefully they can continue to build as we get closer and closer to the postseason. Foul there on the drive, so Carlson heads to the line for the Zephyrs. First one is good. And the second one will go as well. So now a 19-2 run for Mahtomedi. As Hastings needs to try and figure things out, get back to what was working at the beginning of the game. They want to climb back into this one and stop the bleeding. Mahtomedi, though, playing stout defense. This has worked all the way around, inside to Knighton. Now Knighton will try the layup, no good. But flying high for the rebound there was Dean for the Raiders. Foul on the floor was called on Dean. Possession will go the way of Mahtomedi. Felling works it up the floor, looking for a call from Coach Newman. This is Tyne, working it back to Carlson. Felling now. Well, they're just content to play a little 3-person catch for the moment while they try to spread out the defense. Ball was knocked out of bounds. Well, I completely forgot to mention, and I forgot myself, that shot clock is, in fact, a factor in this contest and has been for the high school season thus far. So teams taking that into account when working their plays and setting things up. 13 seconds to shoot here for Mahtomedi, as in fact it actually resets on the inbound. Raiders now come back down the floor quickly. 3-point attempt, no. Dean now will drive inside. Dean kicks it all the way back out to Esterby. Schultz. Kicks it into Esterby. He's surrounded by 2 Mahtomedi defenders. As Mahtomedi is just playing some suffocating defense and not giving the Raiders any room to breathe as they'll try to power their way inside. Knight now grabs the board and goes up for 2. So finally the first basket for Hastings in about 8 minutes, I would say, give or take, and it stops the 19-2 run that Mahtomedi had going. Carlson now thought about it, instead kicks it back out, but he'll take it right back. Carlson, spin move, kicks it down low, 3-point attempt put up, and it's good! Tyler Swanson with the tray. Knighton will get it back to Schultz. Schultz wanted to drive the lane, thought better of it. Trying the left side now, getting no help, kicking it back up. Knighton goes up for the pull-up, and he gets it to hit off glass. So right now, Knighton is about the only player that's been able to score for the Raiders, as he has 9 of the 11 points for Hastings thus far. Ball is knocked out of the hands of Felling there. And an offensive shove was called on Carlson of the Zephyrs, so Hastings will take over. There are only 2 team fouls on the Zephyrs thus far, 3 for Hastings, so a ways to go before we get to the bonus. Raiders working around the top of the key. This is Esterbeed, who's trying to drive in, kicks it back out to Schultz. Schultz will pull up the three, and it's no good. Schultz still looking for his first basket of the game. He's put up a couple threes, but has not been able to capitalize. Felling playing a little bit of catch with Carlson and Schmidt there, and the ball gets knocked out of bounds. Substitutions for Hastings as Bernatz comes back into the game, as well as Matthew Foss. Errant pass there from Schmidt, stolen away by the Raiders. They come back down the floor, all the way down the left side, about as far as you can go, and pushing in, working underneath the hoop was Bernatz, but he couldn't get it to go. Ball bounces out of bounds and is ruled a Mahtomedi possession. Carlson will take it up for the Zephyrs, get it back over to Felling. Swanson got it back. Felling slowing things down now. Felling can't quite see anything that he likes. All the way back to Swanson. He'll drive between two Raiders, put up the little runner, and gets it to fall. Swanson now with 7 points for Mahtomedi. Coming back down the floor quickly with a nice bounce pass underneath the defender. And a three is good for the Raiders' Marlo Strain. So first basket on the night for Marlo Strain, the 6'2" freshman forward for the Raiders. Carlson kicking it all the way up there to Felling. Had to jump up for it. But no harm down there. Mahtomedi really favoring that right side, and why not? They didn't quite get to go. 2-on-1 back down the floor quickly. Going up here for the layup attempt was Matthew Foss for the Raiders. I thought it was a clean denial, if I'm being honest, at the hoop as he went up for the attempt. Knocked away there by Ben Carlson, but the ref decided otherwise, so foul is called. And Foss will shoot two. First one does not go for Hastings. And neither does the second, so only 1 of 4 from the line so far are the Raiders. Doesn't exactly help their cause as they look to climb back into this. Mahtomedi will hope to push things further. Schmidt now works it very quickly around, back down to Felling. Felling kicks it to Graf. Graf back up the top to Felling. Graf looking for some support. Felling will do the same, as Hastings seems content to just give him that shot from the top, and Schmidt clangs it off the rim. Rebounded by Hastings, and they work back up the floor. Driving all the way in with the left-handed attempt there was Bernatz. Ball is saved, but right back to Bernatz. Quickly swarmed there by 3 Zephyrs. Knighton now pulls up, can't get it to go. Rebound Bernatz. Bernatz, and he gets it to go. 4 points now for Bernatz in this first half. Only 3 Raiders with points thus far. Zephyrs have gotten a little bit cold as of late, though, as Schultz tried to drive down on the side. Knighton got the pass there. Couldn't get the left-handed roller to go. Lead has been cut down to 8 for Mahtomedi with just under 5 minutes to play here in the first half. Driving in now is Felling. Felling couldn't get the jumper to go. Rebounded by Schultz. Schultz works it down to Knighton. So Knighton decides to put up the 3. And the ball was rebounded there by Marlo Strain. But the ref said that he stepped on the baseline, so it's a turnover, and ball goes back the way of the Mahtomedi Zephyrs. Mahtomedi has led for the majority of this half. Honestly, it was Hastings who raced out to a 5-0 lead at the beginning. But then Mahtomedi rattled off, I believe, about 15 straight points. As the three does not go, clangs out. And they have led ever since then. Felling now. Try to work it over to Roloffs. Roloffs goes back in, and it doesn't quite land. Ooh, swatted away there. Graf tried to go up for the shot, and it was swatted by Strain. But the ball will stay with Mahtomedi. Checking back into the game for the Zephyrs now is Swanson and Hank Roloffs. Inbound into Roloffs. Roloffs gets it up top to his brother Willie. Long passes caught there by Felling. Barely. All the way across the key. Worked up quickly to Swanson, and Swanson couldn't get it to go. Working it back inside now for the Raiders. As a turn and jump three-pointer is good for Owen Burnett. Raiders climb back within 5 now as they've gotten the last few buckets to go their way. Mahtomedi now works it around. And a travel is called, so a turnover. Big turnover there for Mahtomedi, as Hastings seemed to have reclaimed all the momentum in this one. They're slowly chipping away at the lead and worked all the way back into it. Three-pointer from the exact same spot was put up by Burnatz, but he couldn't get that one to go. Quickly back down the floor inside. This is Hank Roloffs. Roloffs doesn't quite get it to go. Rebounded there by Burnatz, coming back down the floor. Burnatz gets it over to Schultz. Schultz inside to Foss. Foss, Burnatz. Turned over. Now a very much needed easy lay-in for Mahtomedi as they get their first bucket in quite a few minutes. That was tying with the bucket for the Zephyrs. Pick and roll didn't quite work there as the ball is swatted, but a foul is called. Swanson picks up the foul. That's the 5th for the Zephyrs here in the first half. His second foul. Checking back into the game is Graf for the Zephyrs. Inside here to Foss. Foss will try to post up. Three-pointer, no good. Rebounded there by Graf. Schmidt gets it down the floor. Graf with it. Back down to the left side. And a hard foul there. As Foss he was trying to follow his man, but just sort of ran into the offender. And last time I checked, you can't just shove somebody over like that. So that'll be his second foul and the 4th team foul for the Raiders. Rebound inside by Roloffs. He couldn't get it to go. Turnover back the other way. Felling will try to work in a nice left-handed layup, but it was too strong. Knocked out of bounds by Schmidt. Hastings takes over. 1:24 to go here in the first half as Coach Fikema looks on. Schultz plays a little bit of pitch and catch there with Foss. Burnatz now gets it all the way inside to Foss, and a foul is called. 6 fouls now on the Zephyrs. That one I would believe was called, yeah, it was called on Swanson. Or excuse me, that one was called on Roloffs, his first foul. 3-pointer put up by Burnatz, a little bit too strong. Flings off the back iron, and Schmidt works it down the other way, kicks it to the corner, no good. Rebound Raiders, Raiders drive down the floor. This is Foss who gets it inside. Work back to the top to Burnatz. Burnatz will put up the runner. No good. Rebound Schmidt. Schmidt slows things down. Probably looking for the, there's actually a 10-second difference here between the shot clock and the game clock. But the Zephyrs content to take their time. Try to set up a play here. Give the Raiders as little as possible to work with. 10 to shoot. Schmidt now. 5 to shoot as it's kicked back down to the corner. 3 is put up, and it's good! Ethan Felling with the 3-pointer for Mahtomedi. Hastings now will try to put up the final shot. 1 second to do so at the buzzer. No good. Clangs off the iron. So Mahtomedi with the nice set play, not waiting until 10 seconds left on the shot clock to start moving the ball. Kick down to the corner to Ethan Felling. He picks up the tray, and that is how the first half ends as the Zephyrs take a 10-point lead into the break. So quite the first half defensively there for Mahtomedi. As mentioned at the beginning of the game, Hastings is averaging 80 points a contest, and they only got 19 points here in this first half. So an incredible defensive showing for Mahtomedi thus far. We'll see if they can't carry that momentum into the second half. It's teacher night here at Mahtomedi, as the teachers will be honored by the Mahtomedi players. But we'll step aside and head to a quick break. Stay with us. You are watching Mahtomedi Zephyrs boys basketball here on SEC Sports. welcome back inside Mahtomedi Gymnasium as the Mahtomedi Zephyrs are taking on the Hastings Raiders here at halftime in this Metro East Conference showdown. I'm David Schuyler, bringing you all of tonight's action from my little play-by-play corner here in the side of the gym as we look through a couple of highlights from the first half. As Mahtomedi currently leading this one by 10 points at the break. The story of the game has been defense. What with it only being 29-19 here at the half, the Zephyrs really played clamped down, suffocating defense on the Raiders. But there's only 3 Raiders players that have gotten any points thus far in the contest, as Knighton has 9 points for them, Burnett has 7, and Strain has 3 points for them. And for the Zephyrs, it's Felling leading the way with 8 points and Swanson closely behind him with 7. Taking a look at the upcoming schedule though for the Zephyrs going forward, we're pretty much launching into Metro East Conference action as they have St. Thomas Academy coming up with a little bit of a break there with taking on Burnsville there on the 13th. And then nothing but Metro East until they have a gigantic contest later on February 8th against the thus far undefeated Columbia Heights Highlanders. That'll be a big contest for the Zephyrs as they are both in the same section. And will be a good marking point for where the Zephyrs are at that point of the season. But in this one, as we get underway here, Hastings starts with possession as a 3 put up there by Schultz, and it's no good, and the Zephyrs were quickly back down the floor, but the pass is too far for Felling. For Swanson, so it'll go back the way of the Raiders. Schultz takes it down the floor, kicks it back over to Burnett. Schultz takes it right back. Tried to work it all the way down there, but it's stolen away quickly. This is Swanson now down the floor, goes up for the layup, and he gets it to go. First basket of the second half goes the way of Mahtomedi. Schultz now trying again the left side, but it's stolen away. Oh, not quite. Almost stolen away by Schmidt. So instead, a little bit of an odd man rush, you could say, for Hastings. And Burnett picks up another 2 points. Felling now on the inside. A little bit too easy there as Roloff was not boxed out, and he just puts in the easy 2 points. Back down on the other side, Matt Foss picks up a 3-pointer. And this certainly has a little bit of a different feel than how the first half went, as we've already had baskets exchanged back and forth very quickly from both sides. There's a 3-pointer put up there by Felling, and he just can't quite get it to go. Back down the floor quickly now for Burnett, or is Burnett for the Raiders. Back inside, Foss kicks it all the way back out, and the 3, no good. Rebounded there by Swanson. Swanson waits for support. This is Carlson now. Carlson kicks it into that side to Schmidt. Schmidt, triple team, loses possession. Burnett will take it. Swings it down to the corner. This is Schultz. Works it inside to Knighton. Knighton puts up the jumper and he airballs it. Felling swings it all the way down to Schmidt, but he runs out of room, so he'll kick it back up to the top. Schmidt now. I got it right back. Quick, beautiful pass to the corner. Swanson doesn't get it. Foss for the Raiders, hands off to Burnett, who hands off to Schultz. A series of handoffs at the top of the key. Schultz now decided that wasn't going to work, so he'll slow things down to the left. He works all the way around. 15 to shoot for the Raiders. As Burnett liked what he saw, put up the 3, and he already has 5 points here in the second half. Coach Newman has seen enough. We are just over 2 minutes and 15 seconds into this second half, so we will get a timeout. Mahtomedi coming into this one, putting up a 2-8 record, but you look at their schedule, they've had a ton of quality opponents. As for instance, when they played Chisago Lakes earlier in the season, way back on December 5th, that was the number 15 ranked team in Class 3A. And Mahtomedi took it to them, only falling to the Wildcats by 4 points. And a couple of other contests, Stillwater, a big Suburban East team that's usually pretty formidable, only lost to them by 9 points. And 5 points against, I believe, section rival St. Paul Central. Before the past 3 contests, Mahtomedi have been able to turn it around. As we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, coming into this one, Mahtomedi has won 2 of the last 3. As they started the new year with conference action against Tartan and Hill Murray. And Mahtomedi dropped the first one to the Titans, one of our other schools. We can't be too upset about that one. But then they rebounded very nicely, kind of pummeling the Pioneers in the big rivalry contest on Friday of last week. The Zephyrs out of the timeout, putting up the 3, and it rims out the front, but a nice swat back up to the top by Swanson. Driving into the lane here is Carlson, and he puts up the roller and gets it to fall for 2 points. Schultz now takes it for the Raiders. Puts it inside to Foss. Foss gets it back up to the top. Burnat's being defended here by Carlson. Nice tight coverage as this one sails all the way down to the corner. 7 seconds to shoot here for the Raiders. Got to do something quick. Tries to drive it down low. No good. Kick to the corner. Oh, and it bounced off the rim, off the backboard, and in. 3 points for Foss. And a turnover back down here on the other end. This is Burnat's. Over and back violations called on Hastings, so it'll be Mahtomedi possession. But the 10-point lead that the Zephyrs had at the half has been cut all the way down to 5. As thus far, it has been 11 points in the half for Hastings very quickly to only 6 points for the Zephyrs. Felling looking for a little help, gets it in the form of Schmidt. Felling, 4 seconds to shoot, 3 seconds, gotta do something. Schmidt puts it up. Oh, and it just barely rimmed out. Burnat snapping back down the floor quickly, kicks it over to Foss, and Foss gets the 3. So now it is just after being at 10 points, we're not even 5 minutes here into the second half, and Hastings has cut it all the way down to 2. Schultz now coming back as the Raiders have a chance to tie or take the lead for the first time since 16 minutes of the first half. A little bit of frustration starting to show there for the Zephyrs, understandably, as the clampdown, suffocating defense that they had in the first half hasn't really been here thus far in the second half. Checking into the contest for Mahtomedi is Charlie Tyne. As Felling will get a little bit of a breather. Carlson drives in the left side, kicks it inside, and a foul is called. Roloff thought he had the shot before the foul. He did in fact. He will head to the floor for 2 shots.
At the line, shooting 2, 21, Willie Rojas.
First one's good. Zephyrs are now 5 of 7 from the charity stripe in this one. And the second one bounces out. I believe that was the first point of the contest for Roloffs on that free throw there. As Foss tried to work it inside for the Raiders, but it couldn't quite get the finger roll to go, so it's Mahtomedi coming back the other way now. Swanson will put up the three, bounces out, rolls out of bounds. Hastings ball. Inbound coming from the baseline underneath the hoop. Three-pointer, no good. Rims out, rebounded there by Hastings, though. Another attempt is no good. Ball fought for, knocked out of bounds. Some nice work on the board there by the Raiders. Was last touched by Charlie Tyne. Schultz now, as Burnett puts up the long three, and that one kind of understandably comes up a little bit short. Carlson now works it down to Roloffs. Roloffs back up to Carlson. Carlson tried to get inside, didn't get any help there. Swanson tries another three. Yes, sir! Swanson now up to 12 points on the night for the Zephyrs. It's going back the other way was Matthew Foss for the Raiders. Drew the foul trying to go up with the left-handed layup, so he will head to the line for a couple. Foss now with 10 points here in the second half alone, as he has really caught fire. Second one is no good. Only 2 of 6 from the line are the Raiders. And that's probably not going to get it done. Might matter, the way this game is so close. I mean, they make a few more of those free throws and suddenly it's a 1 or 2 possession contest. Mahtomedi, though, tries to work it inside. So they'll do a little pick and roll play and kick it back out to the corner, but the three-point attempt is no good. Foss now, Mr. Everything here in the second half for the Raiders, will hand it up to Burnett. Burnett, a nice behind-the-back dribble. Can't get the roller to go. Swanson now tosses it all the way down to Schmidt, and he has the layup for 2. Schmidt now with 5 points on the night for Mahtomedi. Foss gets it to Burnett. Burnett's driving in. And gets a nice little kiss off the glass for 2 points. Substitution now for Mahtomedi. Burnett has 7 points here in the second half, already matched his first half total. We've got 14 points for the Raiders. Back and forth affair here in the second half, and definitely a lot more high scoring. I don't know what the coach said at halftime, but it might have been something along the lines of, guys, we need to score a lot more quickly, so work the ball faster, get those passes in, get the shots up, we need some buckets. And it's been working for both teams thus far, but more so Hastings. Burnett now puts up the three, can't get that to go. Swanson battles for it there with Knighton. Knighton wins the battle. Oh, wow. I gotta say, I thought for sure that last touch off Mahtomedi, I think Hastings definitely had a point there. I thought the ball was going down and hit off of his legs and knocked out of bounds, but there's a reason that I'm sitting over here at the scorer's table and not wearing a referee shirt. Felling will take it down the baseline, tries to put up the reverse, doesn't go. Knighton can't quite handle it, but does corral the ball. Gets it over to Burnatz. Burnatz now. Up top to Foss. Foss will get it back to Burnatz. Kind of been a two-man show here in the second half for the Raiders. Driving into the right, puts up the layup. No, Knighton with the rebound. And he is fouled over the top. Felling with only his first foul of the match. Both teams with 2 fouls here with just under 9 minutes to go. Free throw is really a problem for the Raiders thus far. 2 of 7 is Hastings now. And it's at the point now where were they 7 for 7, it'd be a tie contest. 2 of 8 make that. I'm no gambling man, but last I checked, 25% is not very good. Three-pointer, Ethan Felling for the Zephyrs. Zephyrs kind of needed that. It felt like a lot of momentum was going the way of the Raiders. So they pounced, put up a 3, and they pushed the lead back out to 8 points. Burnatz now tries to do it all himself and does just that. Carlson will work it down the floor now. Boy, this really has the feeling of a game that's going to come down to the wire. Swanson thought about it. No, instead comes in, bounce pass. Reverse layup doesn't go, and out of bounds. I mentioned the free throws a few times, honestly, because it's a big story. Because it would be a tie game, actually. I think Hastings would be in the lead right now had they made more of their free throws. But the important thing is that's in the past. And it seems like what'll really matter is the free throws at the end of the game as a two-pointer. 2-point jumper from the left key falls for Mahtomedi. Stolen away here now by Carlson. Carlson coming back down the left side, dishes over there to Tyne, but Tyne couldn't get it to go. Rebound, Graf. Graf and Felling content to slow things down a little bit. Carlson now. Spin move and puts it off the glass. Wanted the foul, but he gets the 2 points anyways. And Hastings takes a timeout. I've heard it said before that basketball is a game of runs, and this is certainly no exception. As here in the second half alone, the intensity has picked up tremendously. It was a 10-point lead for Mahtomedi at the half. Hastings got it all the way down to 2 points, and now Mahtomedi has pushed it back up to a 10-point lead once again. We talked about Mahtomedi a little bit earlier, but for Hastings, they definitely launched themselves headfirst into Metro East play. As mentioned, 2-0 thus far as the Raiders were able to take down Simley and St. Thomas Academy. But coming up, they'll have South St. Paul 2 Rivers. The rematch with the Zephyrs coming up there on February 6th. And what with Mahtomedi being 2-8 and Hastings being 2-0 in conference thus far, honestly, I don't think there's any one team that's dominant in this conference like there has been in years past. Don't quite know what happened to South St. Paul, as they were a powerhouse the past couple of years, but also off to a 2-8 start. But as the Zephyrs are showing thus far, 1-1 in conference play and leading the undefeated Raiders by 10 points. So sort of feels like it could be anybody's conference this season, and we'll see how things play out through the rest of the season. This is Felling now, defended there by Foss. Carlson gets it up top to Graf. Interesting of Coach Newman to switch things up. We have Felling down here in the corner and Graf up top, and Carlson playing catch. 13 now to shoot for the Zephyrs. Behind the back pass, that was pretty. Hopefully it amounts to something. 9 to shoot. Felling puts up the 3, rims out. Rebounded by Foss for Hastings. Burnatz kicks it down to the corner for Schultz. Schultz puts up the line drive three-pointer, no. But it's rebounded by the Raiders. Shot clock resets to 20. Six minutes to go here in the second half. Mahtomedi will really try to take their time. Understandably so, as their defense has been pretty darn strong thus far. Carlson now with 15 to shoot, gets it down to Swanson. Perhaps wasn't the look he was looking for. Rebounded, quickly back down the floor. Here is Burnatz, he goes up and is fouled by Roloffs on the play, so he'll head to the line for two. Burnatz thus far has 16 points to lead the way for the Raiders. Foss has 10 points. As yet another free throw clanks out for Hastings. A couple of substitutions for both teams coming back in for Mahtomedi. You got Schmidt, and you got Meter? Did I read that right? Number 11? Did I see number 11? No, I must have missed the other number. My apologies for that. We'll get it for you here in a moment. On the floor for the Zephyrs, you got Swanson, you got Felling, you got Roloffs, Schmidt, and Carlson. Carlson drives the lane, goes all the way in, uncontested, and gets the lane for two. Schultz now for the Raiders. Takes it, gets it back over to, I'm not sure why he didn't shoot that one, but he passed it over to Foss, and Foss's shot was too strong. Coming back down the other way is Mahtomedi. Carlson gets it to Swanson. He's got a wide open look, no good. Beautiful job boxing out the defender there underneath the hoop. Felling now with 10 seconds to shoot. A foul was called on the floor as Felling tried to drive in. And that one was called on Weston Schultz. And he's got to be real careful now. He's got 4 personal fouls, and he will check out of the game for that very reason, because only one more and he would foul out. What are we waiting for, is what I'm asking. That was bizarre. The refs seemed to wait for the coaches to set up their play and then said, he can have all right, you're ready, now we can go. Never seen that before. But in any case, it's Swanson with the 3. Lead is up to 14 for Mahtomedi. Right-handed roller can't go. Hastings wants a foul, don't get it. Coach Fikema looks very upset over on the sideline. Felling will drive in. He's fouled hard. Hits the deck. Wait, it's honestly remarkable how this is a 14-point lead for the Zephyrs right now, because this game really has been back and forth. A lot of probably literal biting, clawing, scratching. We had a 10-point lead for the Zephyrs. Raiders got all the way back within 2, and now somehow Mahtomedi, with a strong response to that surge, has it all the way up to a 14-point lead. Burnatz gets the bucket to go, but then is called for a foul?
Technical foul will be set to number 11, Owen Burnatz. His second, Steve Smith.
A technical foul was called on Burnatz. He must have said something to the ref on the way down after the bucket, and that's Coach Fikema's trying to get an explanation right now for what it was. But nonetheless, Burnatz is called for a technical foul. That's his second foul. And shooting the free throws. Going 0 for 2 from the line was Swanson. Kind of seems like everybody needs to work on their free throws just a little bit. Mahtomedi only shooting 50% at 5 for 10, and on the other side, Hastings a pretty measly 2 for 9 from the charity stripe. A lot of time left to be played in this one, though. Taking the ball back down the floor now for Hastings was Matthew Foss. And that one was knocked out of bounds, so Mahtomedi will take over. If you haven't realized it by now, by the way, and I probably haven't made it clear, I apologize for that, there are 2 Fosses on Hastings. That's probably made this incredibly confusing. And number 14 is Matt Foss, and number 44 is Luke Foss. So that's why I've said Foss a lot. It's been Matt Foss who's had the majority of the scoring for the Raiders here in the second half. His brother Luke Foss, the big number 44 big man inside, has been doing a lot of the grunt work below the hoop, but it's Carlson who drives in and gets the left-handed layup for Mahtomedi. So it sort of seems like Hastings might have maybe just ran out of gas a little bit. You got to admire the effort, though. I think the next contest between these two could be a lot closer, because once again it was all the way down to a 2-point lead for the Zephyrs at one point in this one. But then I think Hastings just ran out of steam. Understandably so. They've only gotten scoring from 4 players thus far in the contest, if I'm counting correctly. Scoreboard right now shows that only 2 players on the floor have scored for Hastings. We've yet to see, as Bernatz drives in and keeps that going with another left-hander, we've yet to see any buckets from Esterby or Schultz or Dean. Schultz, I know, has put up a number of 3-pointers, and it just hasn't been his night. It happens. Everybody has runs in basketball, streaks, where they can be hot, they can be cold, on any given night. Schmidt now scoops up the ball for Mahtomedi, and Coach Newman wisely calls a timeout from the sideline. 2:12 to go here in this one. Mahtomedi hanging on to a 12-point lead over Hastings. Looking ahead here for us on SEC Sports, we've got a number of contests. We're in the thick of the winter season, obviously. Now that we've turned into the new year, we've got plenty of stuff that's going to be heading your way. Coming up here on Friday, we'll be bringing you girls hockey action as North Tartan takes on the Two Rivers Warriors in what should be a very interesting contest from the ice arena. And then on January 16th, we'll be heading over to the Suburban East Conference for a little bit in what should be a huge matchup from 2 teams that are atop the Suburban East, White Bear Lake and Stillwater in girls basketball. And then a little bit of a break until the 24th, when we'll bring you the boys side of things from White Bear Lake boys basketball as they take on the Irondale Knights in conference play before we get into February. So we've got plenty of stuff coming your way on SEC Sports. A reminder that you can watch back any of the games that we've done in the past over on our YouTube channel, and check our local listings for when you can watch games anytime on SEC Channel 19. And also thanks to you, those of you who are turning in from Hastings on HCTV. Three-pointer was no good there from Esterby, but the ball is knocked around and rebounded by Hastings. So driving into the lane there is Matt Foss. Matt Foss gets it around And an offensive foul is called on Burnett. He's not happy about it, but nonetheless, the basket will not count. Mahtomedi retains possession. I'm not fast enough on math to know how many more possessions Hastings is going to get. Trying to figure out the difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Plus it also, I mean, a possession in basketball could last 5 seconds or 35 seconds. It just all depends on how fast things are moving. But all of that said, Hastings has to move fast if they want to climb back into this one. Seven fouls on the Raiders thus far, though, so Mahtomedi is in the bonus, and Felling will head to the line for a 1-and-1 situation. First one is good, so he'll get the second. And the second one is good as well. So Schultz will take it down the floor as Hastings looks to score and score quickly. Understandably, trying to get it to Burnett. Been doing a ton of the scoring here for. It's going to be Burnett or it's going to be Foss. As Schultz rims out. Still looking for his first basket of the game. Felling is fouled on the play. That'll be the 8th foul. Still just the regular bonus for Mahtomedi, though, so Felling will head to the line for the 1-and-1. And that one rims out. Back to 50% on the night from the free throw line are the Zephyrs. Burnett takes it all the way in and lays it in, and a timeout quickly called by head coach Fikema for the Raiders. I must say I am a little bit surprised for how this one has played out thus far. Going into this contest, if you just looked at the records, 2-8 for Mahtomedi, 7-4 for Hastings. I think it would shock you, understandably so, to see that Mahtomedi currently leads by 12 points. As we remind you to check out our social media pages, Facebook, X, or Twitter, however you want to refer to it. I am, for one, am Twitter, always kind of a person. Instagram and YouTube for all things SEC TV. But I think the casual viewer would definitely be surprised by this contest as Mahtomedi coming in 2-8 and 7-4 for the Hastings Raiders. But this just goes to show that they might both have different schedules. That maybe if Mahtomedi had played the same teams that Hastings has played, they might have a different record. But as mentioned too early on in this one, Mahtomedi's got a very young team. Or maybe not necessarily young, but very new, as a lot of these guys hardly got any playing time at all last year for the team, what with having 10 or 11 guys that left the team last year that were seniors. So it being a very new team, you got to figure things out at the beginning of the year. And it seems like they're catching their stride at a really good time. Get into conference play, start to play really well, go on a run, and you never know what happens. That's exactly what the Zephyrs are doing as they look to put this one away and move to winners of 3 of their last 4 contests. A really phenomenal defensive effort being put on by Mahtomedi today as we get yet another timeout called by Coach Newman. And on the other side, Hastings, they've certainly been a team of runs throughout this season. They've had a streaky schedule, starting off the year winning their first 3 games, and then they lost 3 in a row, and then they won 2 in a row, one of which was to ranked 4A Woodbury, I might include. Then they lost to St. Louis Park, and then they won another 2 in a row against Simley and St. Thomas Academy to start the conference season. So maybe this is just in their MO. Win 3, lose 3, win 2, lose 1, win 2. and this might be their one loss, and then maybe they'll go off and win a couple more. Who knows? But there is a long ways to go left in this season. Mahtomedi putting themselves in a good place, and both these teams will be 2-1 in the conference by the time this one is done, with only Two Rivers being the last remaining undefeated team in conference to start off the conference slate of the season. Foul is called on the floor, so roll-offs will head to the line for Mahtomedi.
That's his 13th night. At the line, shooting 1-1, number 21, Will.
13-point lead now for the Zephyrs, so at least a 4-possession game. The violation is called on blue on the floor. Moved a little bit too early on the shot, so the bucket will not count. And the ball stays with Hastings. Burnett's put up the tray, couldn't get it to go. And Coach Ficum is not happy about something. You got to respect the fact that he is keeping his team in this right down to the very end. They're not giving up, they're fighting. They know how close they've been in this one, and they are fighting hard. Trying their best, and they just can't get the buckets to go their way. And you got to hand it to Mahtomedi for keeping their composure, though. They haven't changed their game either. This game is a lot closer than the scoreboard indicates, and they've kept playing strong defensive basketball and gotten really spread out scoring from just about everybody on the floor. And it's worked out really well for them in this one. Burnett gets the and one. He's up to 25 points now for the Raiders. Make it 26. Fouling now will work it down the floor. And he's fouled there by Burnett. The main difference I'm seeing here between these two teams, Hastings is getting it all from about 2 guys. Impressively so, as Burnett is up to 26 for them. And the other one, Foss, he started off real hot in the second half and then just kind of cooled off as things went along. Whereas on the other side, Mahtomedi has a lot more spread out scoring. You got Swanson with 15, you got Felling with 15, you got Carlson with 11, just to name a few. So things really a lot more spread out for the Zephyrs, and it has worked out in their favor. As if somebody goes a little bit cold or doesn't score for a bit, then another teammate is right there to pick them up and contribute to the Zephyrs' cause. Ball is inbounded here to Carlson. Carlson gets it over to Graff, and the ball is knocked out of bounds. Shot clock is turned off as we are under the allotted time for that. Another thing about the Zephyrs and their strong defensive play in this one is they've managed to do it effectively, as they only have 4 fouls total here in the second half to 10 for the Hastings Raiders. Now, understandably, the Raiders have gone on a little bit of a foul run, I guess you could say, since they're trailing. I mean, they started fouling with about 1:15 or so to go here in the second half, so it makes sense that they're going to have more. But still, to only have 4 fouls throughout a half for a team is very impressive, and I think head coach Keith Newman has got to be very pleased with his team's effort. As Graff gets his first and second free throws to go, and the clock will all but wind down on this one. Hastings not giving up, though. as Matt Foss tried to put up the three, but it bounced out. Rebounded there by Schultz for the Zephyrs. Mahtomedi will take possession, and you gotta think this is all but gonna do it on our evening. Carlson will inbound. Well, still getting full court pressure from the Raiders. Carlson will take it, gets it up the floor. No shot even attempted. Coach Newman telling them to spread it out, slow it down. And time is going to run out on the Raiders as Mahtomedi with a very impressive 61-48 victory over their Metro East Conference rivals, Hastings Raiders. A reminder, by the way, that Hastings came into this one averaging 80 points a game. So Mahtomedi keeping them to 48 is quite an incredible accomplishment. Coach Newman's got to be very happy with his team. His team that doesn't have a ton of experience. They battled really hard. They played really good basketball. They did not commit a lot of fouls. And it worked out really well for them in the end as Mahtomedi takes a very nice win on this lovely Tuesday evening here in Mahtomedi. Want to thank Liam Spillane and Steven Adams for running camera for us tonight. I had to fill in on announcer. A reminder that we're always looking for sports announcers. If you want to do a little play-by-play for Mahtomedi basketball or Charlton or White Bear Lake sports, give me a call or shoot me an email. Be happy to have you on the broadcast at some point. Thanks to Arlen Becker filling in for me on the directing, and for Ian Felix for doing audio and replay. And of course, Dean Gross back in Master Control at SCC. Once again, the Mahtomedi Zephyrs with the 61-48 victory over the Hastings Raiders tonight on SCC Sports. We thank you for watching tonight's broadcast. Be sure to check in for our next broadcast Friday night, and we will see you soon.